Hi viewers, in this video we are going to discuss about the next 10 marks problems are the previous problem we have done that itself is the 10 marks problem only. This is also one of the 10 marks problem. In the previous problems they have given only units. Here they have given the capacity as well as the units. Here the units they have not given. We have to calculate the units. They have given units only for one particular capacity, that is 80% capacity. We have to calculate the units for the other 70% and 90% capacity. So in the previous problem, they have given all the units. They haven't given capacity, this much percentage capacity, but they have given units for all the levels. So, so it was very easy to calculate. This is also very easy to calculate. Only thing, uh, here, as far as this particular problem is concerned, we have to fix the units for the remaining two levels. One level they have given in the question. For the remaining two level, we have to fix the units. That is what is required as far as this particular problem is concerned. So you can strongly expect this particular problem in 15 marks or even 20 marks. It depends upon the nature of the examination. Fine. Now, all of you please take the screenshot of this particular question. On the basis of the following particulars, draw up a flexible budget for overhead expenses and determine the overhead rates at 70%, 80%, and 90% plant capacity. So, totally there are three levels of plant capacity. So, 70%, 80%, and 90%. Here, in the question, they have given the information pertaining to the 80% plant capacity, but they haven't given any information pertaining to the 70% and 90% capacity. So we have to find out. Here, estimated, you see here, estimated direct labor hours. Okay. For 80% capacity is 1,24,000. Now we have to first, before carrying forward with the full-fledged solution, first we have to fix up the estimated labor hours for the all the plant capacity levels. For 80% they have given us 1,24,000, and then for the 70% we have to fix it up, and then for the 90% we have to fix it up. Okay, fine. Now here itself, I am going to do the working load. All of you keep the calculators readily in your hand. Uh, and then for 80% capacity, 1,24,000. Okay. For 70% capacity, how much? Here, cross multiplication. So here, 1,24,000 into, okay, cross multiplication. 1,24,000 into 70 divided by 80. 70 in the numerator, 80 in the denominator. Or otherwise, another way is also there. For easy remembering, I am telling, another way is also there. Now, for 80% capacity, they have given 1,24,000. 80% capacity. So 1,24,000, that is 80% capacity as a base. We are keeping 80% capacity as a base, and then we are going to calculate the estimated direct labor hours for 70% capacity as well as the 90% capacity. Now, we have kept 80% capacity as a base. Okay. In such a situation, 1,24,000 into, if we want to calculate the estimated direct labor hours for 70% means, whatever is required, that you have to put it in the numerator. Okay. So, whatever is a base from where we have calculated, So by taking what we have calculated, by taking which percentage as a base we have calculated, by taking 80% as a base that we have calculated. So this you have to give it as the denominator. Denominator is always a base. Numerator is always a requirement. Okay. Numerator is always a requirement. Denominator is always a base. Please bear this in your mind. Okay. Now again I repeat. So estimated direct labor hours for 80% capacity is 1,24,000. Now we want to calculate the estimated direct labor hour for what percent capacity? For 70% capacity, for example. See here, you 1,24,000 into whatever is required, that you have to keep it as the numerator. Okay. So whatever from which base you have taken, that you have to keep it as the denominator. That's all. So 1,24,000 into 70 divided by 80. Use the calculator. 1,08,500. Fine. So here estimated direct labor hour for 70% capacity is, I am writing 1,08,500. Now here we are going to calculate the estimated direct labor hour for 90% capacity. 1,24,000 into. So here, what is required for us? For 90% we have to calculate 90 in the numerator divided by, from, that is which capacity you have taken as a base? This one only, divided by 8. Okay. 1,24,000 into 90 divided by 80. Okay. 1,39,500. 1,39,500. Understood? First we have to fix this one. After then, the like previous problem, how we have calculated, like that only. Okay. Estimated direct labor hour for 80% capacity is, so it is not measured in terms of units. So it is measured in terms of hours. Okay. 1,08,500. I mean 1,08,500. Here I am writing. So 70% capacity, 1,08,500. Okay. Here 1,39,500 for 90% capacity, 1,39,500 hours. Okay. Accordingly, you have to fix it up first. Okay. Now, first information, variable overhead. Okay. Variable overheads. Indirect labor. Indirect labor. 12,000. 12,000 for, in the amount column that you have to write, for 80%. For 80% capacity, in the amount column, 12,000 you have to write. Okay. Per unit you have to calculate now. Per unit. 12,000 divided by 1,24,000. 12,000 divided by 1,24,000. 0.0967. 0.097. 0.097. Okay. Here, per unit, that for variable overhead, per unit will remain same for all level of capacity. 80% level per unit is 0.097. Similarly, 70% is also 0.097. And then for 90% is also 0.09. Okay. Now, this one only will vary. Now, 1 lakh 8, I am going to calculate the total amount column for 70% capacity. 1 lakh 8,500 into 0.097. 10,524.5 means 10,525. Like that you have to write. Okay. And then this we have calculated already. 1,39,500 for 90% I am calculating. 1,39,500. See here. Into 0.097. 13,531.5. 13,532. Like that you write. Okay. Indirect material. Similarly, like that only. You can simultaneously work with me. How much? 4,000. Here, 4,000. Calculate the per unit. 4,000 divided by 1,24,000. 1,20,000. 0.032. 0.032. Without calculators, you cannot do such type of problem. Okay. 0. And then per unit in the case of variable overhead remains constant for the other levels of output also. Okay. Now, for 70% capacity, I am calculating the amount column. 1,08,500 into 0.032. 3,472. 3,472. Here also come to the 90% capacity. 1,39,500 into 0.032. 4,464. Understood? Next, semi-variable overhead. Please put the heading as first one is the variable overhead. Second one is the semi-variable overheads. So partially fixed, partially variable. Okay. It share in the form of proportion. Power. Power. Fixed 30%. Variable 70%. All of you make a note. Power 30% fixed means 70% variable. Okay, 30% fixed, 70% variable. Constitutes the 100%. Now 20,000. 20,000. 80% capacity, you have to put it in the amount column towards the fixed is C. 20,000 into 30%. 20,000 into 30%. 6,000. 20,000 into 30%. 6,000. The remaining 14,000 will be your variable. Okay, first we will deal with the fixed cost 30%. See, total of the fixed cost remains constant at all level, all capacity. Okay, at all level of production. 6,000 for 70%, 6,000 even for 90%. Now you calculate the per unit. Okay. Now I am going to calculate the per unit for 70%. 6,000 divided by 1,08,500. 0.055. 0.55. Here for 80%, 6,000 divided by 1,24,000. 0.048. 0.048. And then for 90%, 6,000 divided by 1,39,500. 0.043. 0.043. Now here, now you for 70% variable, first you calculate the per unit. Okay. So here for 80%, it is 14,000. For this 14,000, you calculate the per unit. 14,000 divided by 1,24,000. So that is 0.1129, 0.113, like that you write, 0.113. See here, in the case of variable, per unit remains constant at all level of production. Okay, 0.0113, I mean 0.113. Okay, now here total column only varies, that is amount column only varies. Okay, so for 70% capacity, 1,08,500 into 0.113, 12,260.5 means 12,261. Okay, and then this already we have calculated. Here 1,39,500 into 0.113. 1,39,500 into 0.113. 15,763.5. 15,764. Understood? Now, the next one, repairs. 40% fixed means the remaining 60% variable. Repairs. Fixed. 40%. Variable. The remaining 60% is variable. How much? 2,000. So towards here 2,000 into 40%. Use the calculator. 2,000 into 40%. 800. Okay. The remaining 1,200. Okay, fine. Now 800 remains constant at all level of capacity. 70%, same 800, 90% also 800. Now we calculate the per unit. That is 800 divided by 1,08,500. 0.007. 0.007. Here 800 divided by this 800 divided by 1,24,000. 0.006. Okay. 0.006. This 800 divided by 1,39,500. 800 by 1,39,500. 0.0057 means write it as 0.006. Fine. Now, here you calculate the per unit for variable, you calculate the per unit for 80% first. 1,200 divided by 124,000. 0.0096. 0.009, like that you can put it. Nothing wrong in it. Okay. So per unit remains same in the case of variable at all level of capacity. 0.009 for 70%, 0.009 for 90% also. Now you calculate the amount column for variable. That is 1,08,500 into 0.09. 976.5 means 977. This we have calculated already. And then 90% capacity, 1,39,500 into 0.009. Okay. 1255.5 means 1256. Understood? Fixed overhead. It's very easy. Now, fixed overheads. First one, what is that? Depreciation, insurance, salaries. Okay. First one is depreciation. It is not the semi-variable. 100% fixed only. 11,000. 11,000 in the 80% capacity amount column. Okay. Now, you calculate the per unit for this one. And then before calculating the per unit, fixed cost will remain same, right? At all level of capacity. 11,000 for 70%. 11,000 for 90%. Now you calculate the per unit at all capacity level. 11,000 divided by for 70%. 1,08,500. 0.101. 11,000 for 80% capacity divided by 1,24,000. 0.0887 means 0.089. And then for 90% capacity, okay, 11,000 divided by 1,39,500. 0.078 means 0.079. Like that. The next one, insurance. All of you observe. Insurance for 3,000. 3,000. 3,000. Now, for 70% capacity, 3,000 divided by 1,08,500. 0.027. 0.028. Like that you can put. 0.028. Use the calculator. 3,000 divided by 1,24,000. 0.024. Next, 3,000 divided by 139,500. 0.0215. 0.021. That's all. And then last one. Salary is 10,000. Salary is 10,000 for which percent capacity they have given? 80% capacity. 10,000 for 70% capacity. 10,000 for 90% capacity. Now calculate the per unit. So 10,000 divided by 1,08,500. 0.092. 10,000 divided by 1,24,000. 0.080. 0.081. When you see the calculator, you can easily understand. And then 10,000 divided by 139,500. 0.072. Okay. That's all. Everything got over. Okay. Now, total cost. You add only the per unit column. You need not add the other column. Okay. You need not add the amount column. You add only the per unit column. That is what is required. Okay. Now I am going to add the per unit column for 70%. 0.097 plus 0.032 plus 0.055 plus 0.113 plus 0.007 plus 0.009 plus 0.101 plus 0.028 plus 0.092. 0.534. 0.534. Now, this 0.534 into 1,08,500 hours. Okay. This 0.534 into this 1,08,500 hours into 57,937. 39. 57,939. Okay. Now, total the per unit column for 80% capacity 0.097 plus 0.032 plus 0.048 plus 0.113 plus 0.006 plus 0.009 plus 0.089 plus 0.81 0.499 into this 1,24,000. 61,876. Simultaneously do with me. 0.097 plus 0.032 plus 0.043 plus 0.113 plus 0.006 plus 0.009 plus 0.079 plus 0.021 plus 0.072 comes to 0.472 into 1,39,500. 1,39,500. 65,844. Okay. Now, as far as flexible budget is concerned, it's very easy only. See, two things that you have to take into the consideration. You see the problem. Indirect labor comes under the variable. Okay, or otherwise I will be explaining this itself. Semi-variable overhead. So here you see, in the case of fixer, that power, for example, in the case of fixed, I am telling this amount column remain same, whereas per unit column varies in accordance with the different level of production. Okay, you see, ulta, in the case of variable, per unit column remains same at all level of capacity, whereas amount column varies in accordance with the various levels of capacities. Okay, this mantra only you have to bear it in your mind while you are working the flexible budget. If you are strong enough with this particular mantra means, then you can solve any number of problems, any type of problem under the flexible budget. Now, in your textbook, you can take any problem and then you can solve accordingly. Please take a screenshot of this solution. Thank you, viewers. Thank you for your cooperation. Kindly view my video very patiently and then you please subscribe all my videos. I will be doing more videos on daily basis as far as possible. Okay. Thank you. Wishing you all the success.